How you gonna get the board, man? You ain't gonna walk away from that, right?
Hold on. Handle that side. I got this side. There you go. Can you hear that? There you go. How you sound in the ear? You good?
Oh, good, man.
You got that covered up on anyway.
Huh?
You got that one covered up anyway.
You said what?
You have it covered up. The Gorilla Publishing.
I'm gonna say, man, make sure camera one on. You got them on far?
Yeah, you wanted them, ain't you?
You got to straighten it up, bro. We like this.
Stand up. There you go.
The other way, man. Like we got them like this.
There you go. There you go.
Hey, man, you got the camera on, man.
Man, go ahead. I got this side. You stay with that side. Right? You have that side. I get this side over here. I got this side over here. I got you. That's rock and roll. That's rock and roll.
Hey.
You might
To you, Joaquin. Man, I'm not gonna say that about no goddamn Barack Obama, man. I don't know why you don't have to keep telling me that, bro.
All right. Now they will get you. They will get you.
Ooh. 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 Man, somebody need to call and order pizza sitting up. That's what we about to do. Look, man. Hey, man. That mud so far, man, I can't see who the heck.
There you go.
Good evening. Good evening. This is your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr., coming to you live from Little Burn, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. Y'all got to excuse me for drinking, man. Hey, man, I need some help tonight. I was trying not to do it, man, but hey, man, can somebody order a pizza and send it up?
Lord.
Well, you like we only got an hour, man. I'm like, man, I can't. I was like, man, hold on, bro. Let me get some. Man, whew, boy. So, welcome to the Daily Bread Show. I'm your host, Joaquin Thompson Sr., and we're coming to you live with episode 116. We 116, right? All right, we gonna make it 116. But yeah. We 116.
Yeah.
What?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 116.
Man, hey man, what?
All day long.
God darn. So tonight we got, as always, we got something really, really good this evening too. We were just talking about the kickoff to the college football season. Number to the show, 678. It's in the chat too, 381-1973. Special birthday. Shout out to my homeboy down in Florida. Dude, man, I've been knowing since we was kids, man. And I seen a post. So that's the good thing about having autonomy when you own something, like you own your own show. So big shout out to my friend Rod Jackson. This is his happy 3rd birthday of his heart transplant. Happy 3rd birthday for his heart transplant, right? Let me say it 3 times. Happy 3rd birthday for my friend and colleague, partner in crime, quarterback extraordinaire, right? Reball, fam. And it was 3 years ago he got a new heart. And he's a young guy, man. Younger than me, 51. Wow. 50, could be 50, right? So, Rod, you know, man, take care of yourself, keep doing your thing, man, and it's a blessing. And this brother, man, I was thinking about him coming in, man. This brother, wow. I mean, just imagine when you be waking up, man, complaining about whatever you complaining about, right? Mm-hmm. And just imagine being that young and somebody coming in and saying, no fault of your own, but for some reason, you got this rare disease that's causing your heart to fail. And if you don't get a heart, you ain't gonna make it. That's it. And to hear something like that, and the strength and the courage comes in, because that's when you really see the character of a person, doing adversity, doing challenges. That's when you see the real person, right? When that stress get on you, or somebody gets super scared, or somebody react a certain way, that's when you get to see the essence. You know, because we talking about a man at this point, so that's when you get to see the essence of a man. And I can say wholeheartedly, man, when I say he gave it over to God, he was like, look, man, dude was posting videos. I mean, he had it's a machine, it's called an LVAD, that they insert into your chest, and what it does is, it really acts as an external heart for you. So it does the functioning that your heart would normally do, but it's connected to your heart. But you have this machine that you have to carry around, which kind of like the old days when the mobile phone first came out and the phone was in the bag. It's kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? But that's what keeps you alive. So just imagine wearing that for an extended period of time, you know, going out, you know, you're going to go out somewhere. He got two boys. You know, his boys was in, you know, like middle school at the time, middle school going into high school, and then he had a younger son. So just imagine the type of courage you got to have, man, to go through that while you waiting to get a heart, bro. Mm-hmm. That's day for day. That's day in and day out. So I feel honored and privileged to call him friend, and special shout out to Rod for his 3rd anniversary on a new heart. Second thing I want to talk about is all of the people in Florida. We have a huge following in Florida. All the people out of Duval, all the people out of Orlando, all the people in the bottom, out of the MIA. I mean, we got this crazy storm coming up on us, Dorian. And so I've been getting calls and texts from different people, and everybody already went into, I guess you would call it, I'm gonna say preparation mode, right? So a lot of places already, you know, reporting long gas lines and people, you know, getting water off the shelves. You know, stores are starting to become depleted of, you know, supplies like, and I never understood, I guess I never understand the eggs part. I get the water, but the milk and the eggs part, I don't know, because if the power go out, like, what you
How you gonna keep it fresh, especially in the summertime?
I'm like, especially as hot as it is, I get the water all day, but the milk and eggs, maybe the milk, I don't know. I've been trying to, but either way, man, just be safe. Don't do nothing, don't be heroic. You know what I'm saying? Don't do nothing out of character, man. Listen, keep your, you know, get your batteries and your flashlights and all these things, get prepared, because sometimes, and that's one of the things too, with the age that we live in. Think about this. If you go without power for like 2 days, say for whatever reason your power go out for 2 days, right?
It's a mess.
Right. Your cell phone will probably be dead, right? You're gonna burn up all the you're gonna burn up all the gas in the car trying to charge your phone up. So I mean, it's just one of those things that you have to, you know, get prepared for, man, and be safe. That's always number one. Just be safe. So you know, special shout. That was the second thing. The third thing I want to talk about, man, is I was scheduled to be flying down to Miami for the homegoing service for one of my uncles that passed away, and you know, unfortunately, because of, you know, the extenuating circumstances with the hurricane and the travel places and all of this, it's just, I'm not gonna be able to go. So want to send a special blessing and a special prayer out to my family as they persevere and continue to manage the business at hand. I would ask that God watch over everybody in our family, keep them safe, give them a clear vision, have them to execute with precision,
Yes.
and do everything in order, out of respect for my uncle. And one of the things that, my cousin had posted a picture of him, which is deep, he was 80. So again, this is the benefit of having your own show. He was 80 years old. And my cousin posted a picture of him when he was at FAMU. This dude was in the 100, right? So we talking about in the we talking about late 50s, early 60s, he was in the marching 100.
Wow.
He was a cymbal player, right? And he played the cymbals, but he was a monster, man. This guy, I mean, as far as an African-American male, this guy was, I mean, he was, like I put in this book, he was the epitome of being a maverick. Like, he did everything, like, this guy really, he believed, I guess that's the key word, he really believed, in his mind, man, he really believed, like, the world revolved around, like, he was, the world revolved on, and he was the axis. That's how that's how he carried himself, that's how he thought, that's how he acted. And what I mean by that is, as a kid, and I'm gonna just give you a couple quick stories, and then we're gonna jump into what we're gonna talk about. And this is all tied to personal finance.
Yes.
Right? Young African-American man from Miami, right? Now you remember back in the 70s when Bob Johnson, now I'm talking about Afro Sheen Bob Johnson. I'm not talking about BET Bob Johnson, right? I'm talking about Robert Johnson. So, you know how big Afro Sheen was in the 70s, right? Everybody had the big fro, everybody was getting their hair braided and plaited, and everybody had Afro Sheen. Everybody had, and then they came out with the blowout. So that was for the jokers who had, the real naughty hair. They came out with the blowout. But everybody had grease and sprays, and Afro Sheen was big. Afro Sheen was, you know what I'm saying, marketed on Soul Train.
Yeah.
Man, my uncle got with this chemist and came up with his own line of hair care products called Black Gold. And it had this little, I'm talking about, he had the aerosol spray, he had the grease, he had the conditioners. And I was a kid, man, I must have been like 7, 8, 9. I remember him coming up to Jacksonville, man, he had all this stuff. And I was like, what is this? He's like, man, this is my company, Black Gold. I was like, wow. So he was an entrepreneur, man, and then he started several other companies. And then as he aged, when he got, as the young people would say now, as he got his weight up, when he got older, then he made an attempt, he put a little team together, then he made an attempt to purchase the local affiliate in Miami, the local news station. I think it was like CBS or ABC, but it was, because back then it wasn't on cable, so it was like everybody only had ABC, NBC, CBS, right? So he put a team together to buy a television show, a television network in Miami, but that deal didn't go through for whatever reason. But the thing that I always say is, like, you can learn from reading and seeing words, but you can learn more when you see something in action.
Absolutely.
And the way I seen him do his thing, man, it really left an indelible mark on me, because I was like, wow. Like, man, when I say he was doing it, he did it, man. And he didn't never take no for an answer. It didn't matter what it was, and everything that he did it with style. I mean, you talking about a real Renaissance man. I mean, always dressed to the T, always groomed nice, nails done, shoes shine. I mean, sharp, just a sharp guy, man. And but he was street though. So if you hey, everybody knew, like, hey, don't go there with Uncle Billy, man. Just don't go there, because once he gets going in that direction, man, it's gonna be a real problem.
It's a wrap.
So, shout out Uncle Billy and his spirit, and thank you for the life that he lived, and again, the indelible mark that he impressed upon people like myself to just be and do and dream bigger dreams, right? Just be more. It's like it's no excuse. So those are three things I wanted to get out the way. Fourth thing, I ain't gonna start with.
Don't start with the fourth.
No, because I was gonna talk about the sorry Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm like, I'm not gonna waste my airtime with that. Just know that it's football season. We're kicking it off. This is the end of summer now. Summer over, right? So tonight, what we're gonna talk about, one of the things I wanted to talk about tonight was debt. And the reason, I mean, like many of y'all know, started a mortgage company about 45 days ago. And through the grace of the Creator, I've been getting applicants. I've been working with different individuals and couples, submitting information. We're working on getting them approved for loans. So that's been amazing. And it's right in line with what I'm doing anyway. This whole personal finance journey for me is just, it's just that. It's a journey. In the process of shopping, we got the TV show. We finally got all of the edits done on the TV show. So now we're going to start shopping the TV show to some local networks and get ready to shoot the second season. So came out really, really nice. Everything looked really, really funky, really professional. But the reason I want to talk about debt tonight is because debt, last week we were talking about credit, and I went back and I always go back and look at the shows. So, but last week's show, when I talked about painting that picture, like knowing the 5 components of credit and being able to paint that picture when you go into the bank is so critical. But one of the things that is really eating away at our community is debt.
Yeah.
Right? Debt is a silent killer, and what people don't realize until it's too late many times is that when you're dealing with debt, if you don't understand how to manage it, how to overcome it, how to eliminate it, it can take you a lifetime, literally. It can take you a lifetime. So if you think about your lifespan, I'm not even talking about the kid years, because you don't really have no responsibility during the kid years. So let's just say 20, and I ain't even gonna say 18. Say like 20, 21, that's when people start getting into stuff. Maybe you went into the military at 18, maybe you did some other stuff right at 18, that's fine. But the majority of people, 20, 21, that's when people start sprouting they financial wings. A lot of people start accumulating debt 2021, 22, 23, and the way the cycle goes is most people accumulate a lot of debt in their 20s, right? They accumulate a lot of debt in their 20s, and then they continue to accumulate debt into their 30s, but then they get to a certain point, typically in their 30s, in their mid to late 30s, where they kind of stop accumulating debt, and then they go into, I want to get rid of debt mode, right? They kind of get into that. Most people, now some people, they just keep accumulating debt throughout their lifespan, and then they get to a point where they become advanced in age, they become too old to overcome the debt burden. And that's the reality of where we are right now. And one of the things that I always like to do is I like to bring you on, things that you can just go back and marinate on. So this is something for you to think about. People are living longer. Data, research, the way, medications have advanced, technology has advanced, procedures, so people want to live longer, right? Everybody's like, hey, I want to live longer. I want to, the baby boomers, 60 is like the new 40. They out, they skydiving, they surfing. You got people, I mean, what, Jennifer Lopez is like, what, 50, 51?
Yeah.
She in a stripper movie, right? So it's just, I mean, that generation that's like right in front of us, because the baby boomers, they really kind of capped off. It kind of, the end was like 64, 63, 64, somewhere right up in there. That was like the end of what they call the baby boomer generation. But they doing everything. So they living longer. But what does that mean? If you live longer, you have to have something in place to support you longer. Now, one of the greatest travesties in life is to live your life, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and then you get into your 50s, 60s, 70s, and you have to be dependent, not just Walmart, but you got to be dependent on your kids, or another family member, or, you know, something to subsidize or to almost like take care of you. Because you say, I don't have the means. I mean, and that's what I'm always stressing on the Daily Bread is like, there's a cost to living. It's an actual cost to live. Like for you to just wake up in the morning, there's a cost. And we've talked about debt before and interest and the way interest is being calculated. Interest is being calculated on a 365-degree model. Meaning, every day that you wake up, if you have a car note, if you have a student loan, if you have credit cards, if you have any loan with interest on it, every day that you wake up, you are accumulating more debt. So there's a cost to that. So if you don't, and that's just life. Some of us, you know, had our kids early. Some people, you know, they gonna like, hey, you know, I'll make more money when I get older. Oh, when the kids get out the house. It may not work out like that, right? But if you're saying you want to live longer, then we got a plan to have income for a longer period of time. So my thing is, like credit, a lot of people stress credit. What's your credit score? I think even more so, even more important than credit is to be able to have the skill set to know how to deal with debt. Because once you get that skill set down, then on paper, it may look like you got a lot of debt, right? But if you have a plan, if you know what this debt is for, it might be debt that you use to get your business started. Okay, you good with that. It might be debt to, you know, put yourself through college. So stuff like that, this investment-wise, that's fine, but that goes into your ROI, right? And your ROI is basically, you know, how much revenue, income are you gonna make from this investment that you made? So real quick, a lot of times people say ROI. So we got the board out. So I like, you know, we're gonna tackle it on the board. So this ROI right here, let me show you real quick. This ROI, so that way you just draw a little line, and just so that way people can, this was your investment, right? That's your investment. This is your return. Put a little equal sign there. Return on investment. So you may be saying, well, what does that mean? That means that, for example, you might have gone to school, it might have cost you $100,000. Right? Now let me show you all something. And we talking about debt tonight, that's the topic. So I'm gonna just take the little time I got left, we're gonna talk about debt. But let me show you something about how you manage this. Let's get this where we can see it, man. Oh, what's up? Oh. But
You see it?
you can see it?
Yeah.
All right. So with that, the way it goes is this. Some people, they talk down about people who went to college and they really didn't have the means from parents or, you know, somebody else being able to help them go to school. So they had to take out loans. So it might have cost them $100,000, right? So I hear a lot of people talk about student loans. That's crazy. Ain't no need of you get no student loan. You come out with all that debt, okay. So I'm not gonna go there. I'm gonna try to keep it like the older people say. Try to keep it in the middle of the road, but I'm gonna give you a little. We're talking about ROI at this point, so you can use this. This $100,000 might be for, a food truck. This $100,000 could represent anything, right? This $100,000 could represent a house, a rental house. This $100,000 could represent, the money that you're paying to send one of your kids to college, not for you, but for one of your kids. So that's the denominator. That's the investment, right? That $100,000 might be the money that you paid for a franchise. Like you're going to open up a Popeyes. Everybody talking about the chicken.
Oh Lord.
This might be the $100,000 on the. It's done went up now, y'all. You should have got it before they start selling them chicken sandwiches. But this done went up now. But this could have been on that Popeyes franchise, right? But so you get it, right? That's the investment. The return, the way you measure it is, you come up at the top. This is called a numerator. Denominator, right? That's at the bottom. Numerator. So in the numerator, your return might be, and you measure it over time, right? So if your return, say if you got 100, you made $100,000 back, right? Paid in 100, right? And you got $100,000 back. Well, you broke even. Is that a bad bet? That ain't a bad bet. You put in 100, got 100 out. Some people don't like breaking even. I get it. But guess what? Breaking even is better than having a loss, right? Because you know what a loss look like this. You ain't make 100,000. You made 10,000. You put in 100 and you made 10 and you hoping that you're gonna make some more. But that's a bad return on investment, right? That's a bad, so just to keep everything relative, so if you take that out, but here's a bigger number. Let me show y'all something. Going back, I'm gonna use that student loan scenario, right? I know somebody, they did that. Cost them $100,000 to get their education, right? And then when they calculated their salary over time, right? This for a short period of time. The first 3 years, first 4 years, they ain't make a lot, right? They starting salary was like $40,000, right? They paid in 100, and they starting salary was 40, right? So in 4 years, they made what? They made 160. That was the first 4 years. Is that a good return on investment? Heck yeah. All day, every day. Anybody will take that. You give me 100, I give you 100, you give me 160 back in 4 years?
Oh yeah.
Where you gonna get that at? Stock market ain't gonna give you them kind of returns. Who gonna give you them kind of returns? So I'm saying that to say, we're talking about return on investment. I'm saying that to say, you gotta learn and understand return on investment and how that works in many facets of our lives. So before people quick to judge like, oh, that's too much money. Now I agree. And this is something I tell the college students. I tell them up front when I go and speak to them. When I went to Morehouse, this is exactly what I told them. Make sure you majoring in the right field. Because you got to be able to look at the landscape and say, where the job's going to be? Who's going to be paying? Some people paid $100,000. I talked to some kids that went to Morehouse. Well, really, it was their family members. It wasn't the actual student, but their family members. This one kid, I was talking to his uncle or his cousin or somebody. His first job, 75. He's making $75K his first job, his first year out.
That's good.
So if you look at, if he making 75 and say he don't never get a raise, he don't never get promoted over 10 years, This man is gonna make 750, he's gonna gross, so we ain't gonna talk about gross and net tonight, but he's gonna gross $750,000, and he paid in $100,000. That's, bro, that's good.
That's real good.
That's good numbers. What? You gonna do that in the stock market? No. You gonna do that in a lot of other investments? No. And that's just the first 10. We ain't even talking about the second 10, right? So if he's worked 20 years, he made 1.5 off of 100,000. So we gotta understand that, how it works, and ROI is just part of it. So just wanna make sure that y'all got the ROI scenario. So that's ROI, but keep that, you gotta keep that kind of like in the forefront. So let's talk about debt. Let's talk about debt. And the reason I'm talking about debt is, I don't care if it's a mortgage, personal loan, signature loan, any other kind of type of loan. First thing banks, when you're dealing with banks, and that's what we was talking about last week. When you're dealing with banks only want to know one thing, right? This. So let's talk about debt, but I'm gonna give you a good education on that. Hopefully y'all can see that. I'm gonna write it 2 times. It's called risk. That's all banks. Whenever you say the word lending, that's what it is. You're talking about risk, right? That's the bank. The only thing the bank want to know is, what's the probability of you being able to return their money with interest over time? That's the whole process. That's why you fill out the application. That's why they pull the credit. That's why they're looking at, what kind of income do you have? What they're trying to do is they're trying to sit down and take all of your information and run it through a process to say, what is the probability that if I give this person $100,000, if I gave them $100,000 for whatever he's saying he want to invest in, because we just talked about ROI first. If I give him $100,000, what is the likelihood that I'm gonna get my $100,000 back with interest? That's it. That's all they want to measure. So when you're thinking about risk and you're thinking about banks, the only thing you got to do, you have to do something that's called reverse engineering into managing debt. And you say, well, what does that mean? That means this. You can sit down and look at your own budget, or you might call your own portfolio, and just look at your liabilities. And we've done this before. You have to have your own personal income statement, right? So I'm gonna give it to you all tonight. So we talking about income statement, right? Some people call it a P&L. What's that? That's this. Revenue, right? Minus liabilities. Right? Equals, right? This your net. We just say net revenue. Some people call it net operating expense. Right? Because then you got to take out stuff like taxes, and so I haven't taken all of that out. I'm just saying revenue minus liability, we just keep it real simple, right? So if you look at, you take everything all of the income that you have coming in right now, and then you take all of the liabilities that you have going out. If you have a surplus, that's what? What did we talk about last week? The bank want to see what? They want to see this. They want to see cash flow. That's what this is going to be. If this is positive, right? If this is positive, it's called cash flow. If this is negative, if you take your revenue and your liability is more than your revenue, this becomes negative. It's simple. It's positives and negatives, right? So instead of you going to the bank and saying, hey, I wonder if you would loan me $100,000 before you go to the bank. And this is what I'm telling my clients that I'm working with in the mortgage game. Some people not gonna get approved, right? Part of the reason they're not gonna get approved is they haven't taken this step first. You should do this before you go and ask, because this is part of you painting that picture. So when I'm coaching and teaching people, it's like, look, let's get this picture, because you already know that's what it's part of your picture. That's what they want to see. They just want to see this. That's all they want to know. What is the probability? And what this is telling them, this tells a story. So you have to understand and start learning how to read financial stories. Like you read books, right? We always have a book of the week on the Daily Bread Show. But you got to learn how to start reading financials. This is called an income statement. You have to learn how to read an income statement. You have to learn how to read a balance sheet, right? Assets equal liabilities plus owner equity. They have to balance. But you got to learn how to read those two. You have to learn how to read those statements, because you got your own personal, this is your own personal income statement. Now, if you have a job, if you're a W-2 wage earner, wherever you work, whether the company is public or private, they have this sheet. It's somebody in their company that's responsible for this. Now, if they're negative, if every year they end the year and it's like, man, we in the red. We in the red. It ain't but so many years they're going to be able to say that. Because pretty soon, what's going to happen? They're not going to close. I know naturally people say, oh, they're going to close. No, they ain't going to close. You know what they're going to do? They're going to close you. That's what happens. People start getting what? Laid off.
Yeah.
Right? And guess what? When companies start laying off people, what does that do? It increases their bottom line. Because now their liabilities that they have, that's why we always are talking about what? Create you more than one stream of income. Because anybody that works for a company is a liability. They try to condition you to think that you're an asset. Oh, you're doing a great job, Tom. Tom, oh my gosh, Tom, you did a great job on that report. There's no way. Oh, and you brought in that new business. But after they tell you that, when they go back into another office, they leave out the office with you and go into another door. They be like,
Gotta get rid of him.
we got to get rid of some people because we got to cut our expenses. Because we got a responsibility to our shareholders, and they not happy. We've been in the red for 3 years. So what you have to do is think the same way with your personal income. So if you do this little scenario here, this is not rocket science. This is just adding up your revenue. I make X number of dollars a year. You divide that by 52 weeks, or you divide it by 26 pay periods. You come up with a number, right? You take out your liabilities. It'll tell you. Now, I'm not even going to go into take out your tax, because we talked about tax. Take that out. Take out, your health care. So what you really want to be using when you do this calculation is your net income. Because your net income is that little number at the bottom of your check. That's the money that you really live off of. So if you do this and you come up negative, you need to get rid of some liabilities. So you ain't gonna fire no people in your house, but you can fire the cable. You can fire the cable bill. Now how? Now we talk about debt. So we talked about return on investment. So I'm gonna keep y'all honest now. It's just like class, right? This is what I do. I love doing this. So the first thing we talked about was return on investment. So I'm gonna put this up here so y'all can keep track of this, because we talking about debt. So we talked about return on investment. Now we talking about, which is our net, I guess you would say, our net revenue or bottom line. Now I'm gonna give you a better one. I don't like that. I want it to be broader than that. We're gonna talk about, this is your personal, and if if you at home writing this down, this is your personal income statement,
Analysis.
right? This is your personal income statement. That's what this is, right? So now we're gonna take it a step further. Now, if you're gonna get rid of your liabilities, how are you gonna get rid of your liabilities? How are you gonna know what your liabilities are? Because you're gonna have this, the number 3. You're gonna have a household budget worksheet. Boy, it's wiggling, but household budget worksheet. What is that gonna do? That's gonna do this for you. You're gonna have this, it's gonna be set up this way. I'm gonna give it to you all. And then it's gonna be set up like this, right? And then you're gonna come over here. But the thing that you have to do is, this is August, September, November. So the first thing you gotta do is you gotta set it up for a year, so that way if your car note, say you lucked out, you got a $100 car note, right? So that means every month you pay $100 on your car note. You lucked out, you got a $100 car note, right? And then what else you got? Oh, you got cable. Y'all love cable. Power, okay, Miss Power now. Cable bill, $175. Cable bill more than your car note.
Yep.
So you do that all the way down, right? When you get down here, I just gave y'all the answer. When you get down here, guess what that's gonna tell you? That's gonna tell you if you got, because you're gonna, on top of this, you're gonna have your revenue, and then you're gonna have your expenses. Guess what this is gonna tell you?
You can afford the chicken sandwich.
This is gonna, this, whatever this number is down here, these totals, because you're gonna do it for the year. You gotta do it out for 12 months. So that way you can literally sit down and look at your budget and say, okay, guess what this number is? If this number is positive, that's called what? Surplus. If this number is negative, that's called a deficit. So if you get down here and it's a positive, that's surplus. What's another name for surplus? Cash flow. Cash flow. If it's a deficit, because that's how we got to the budget. We was talking about when we was looking at our income statement and we had a deficit. So we can't fire people, but we can fire cable. So what you do is, if you come down here, let me show y'all some magic. You come down here and say, I wrote the wrong thing. I got too excited. Like, man, it's just like, wow, Professor King. So if you come down here, right, and you got a negative, say you negative $100. So that means you've added up all your expenses for the month, everything. Credit cards, food, grooming, car note, insurance, everything, right? Tuition, money that you give to the kids, everything. You put everything in. When you get to the end of your budget, it says you are negative $100 every month. So what does that mean? That means that you're spending $100 more than you make. Period. That's the simple. So how do you get rid of that? How do you turn this into a positive? When you're looking at this, you know what you got to say? You got to call DirecTV. You got to call Comcast. You got to call somebody and say, hey, look, you know what? I need you to take that $175. I'll watch it on my tablet. Right? So I'm gonna put it on here because I'm a big proponent of this. So that's cable. So now you can knock the cable out. So what happens? What happens to this number? That 175 that you saving now comes down here, and guess what? That negative 100 turns into a positive. Right? So now you positive what? $75. Now you positive $75. You say, ooh, God dang, I like how that worked. Guess what? Like, okay, well, what else can I do? Well, I said it was a car, I lied. It ain't no car. It's a credit card bill. Guess what you could come in and do? Pay the credit card bill off. So now you don't have that credit card bill no more, right? So what happens? You take that $100 that come down here, that's 75. You 175. You 175.
Looking good now.
Now here's where the magic comes in, right? Because we was talking about managing debt. Here's the magic. If you keep doing that in your budget, because you could go in and find something else. You know what? We eating out a lot. How much we eat out? About $100. I'm gonna be nice to y'all tonight. We spend about $100 eating out every month. Knowing it's more than that, because that's only $25 a week. So we know y'all spending more than that. So what's a realistic number? 200,
200.
right? 50 a week.
Yeah.
That's just you and that's just the family.
That's the
So we can say $200, right? So you spend $200, right? This is eating out. I'm gonna just say eat. That's $200. So you may not be able to come right in and say, you know what, baby? That's when you start.
Look at him.
I was,
What happened was
what, baby? What, baby? I was.
did you park the car in the driveway?
I was thinking maybe we working on the budget and we trying to buy a house and we trying to get our business off the ground. I was thinking maybe we gonna stop eating out. Maybe we gonna cut back. We're not gonna totally cut it out.
Who gonna cook?
I ain't cooking. That's when you come in. I cook. But look, you spending $200 a month. What if you knock the $200 a month down? I'm gonna show you some love. I'm gonna look. When I'm giving you here, bro, this is some $10,000 worth of information, bro. So instead of you spending $200, we gonna be cool. You gonna spend $100 now, right? So we just cut this down and make it $100. Gonna keep mama happy. Gonna keep you happy, right? That's $100. But what happened to this number? All right, look, bro. Now you at 275. Look, when we started this, you was negative 100. Now you at plus 275 every month. Why is that important? Because remember what we're talking about. The subject is what? Debt. I'm not being a good teacher. Let me put this up here, man, because people at home may not know what we're talking about. They may be coming in the middle of the show. This is what we're talking about. DEV and the T is solid. We're talking about debt, like Deb, like short for Deborah, right? Now I just showed you how to get $275 a month, right? And you can get more than that because you may have another credit card, $50, another credit card, $25. You can make that number just keep going up and up, right?
Explain to them in case they don't know the difference between in the red and the black. Some people don't know
In the
what that means.
red and in the black.
Some people might not know what that means.
Some people may not know what that means. In the red or in the black. Now, if you don't know what in the red or in the black mean, I'm gonna go back a step, right? We got 12 minutes. So I think this is gonna have to be a 2-part session. Because I ain't gonna rush. I don't believe in rushing when I'm teaching. In the red and in the black. So let's think about that, right? In the red means exactly what it says. Now we got to go back up a step. We got to go back up to our income statement. And I can show you right in here. If you have a surplus, right, on an income statement, because you have to learn the vocabulary of the financial world, right? You have to learn the vocabulary of the financial world. So if they say a company is in the black, right, what does that mean? In the black means this. And I'm going to write all over in the black. So means what? In the black equals what? Cash flow. It's called a synonym, right? I know a lot of us ain't been on them type of words since we was, when we stopped doing whatever we were doing. That's a synonym. In the black, you know what else that means? It means this. It means surplus. In the black. You know what else in the black means? Profit. Or profitable. That's in the black. Right? So, if you hear somebody saying, that company's in the black, right? They don't have to say that company has cash flow. If they say the company's in the black, then you get it, right? Okay, they in the black. Okay, that means they got cash flow. That means they're profitable. And that means they have a surplus. Meaning, when they take in all the revenue, it's interchangeable with sales. So a lot of companies, when you look at their income statement, the top line is sales. Some companies, they just say their top line says revenue. This, in the black, that's what in the black is. So let's talk about red. So here's red right here. So here's red. R-E-D. So what does red stand for? The opposite of black. Right? I'm putting y'all up on, man, this is a major game. You know how easy this is to remember? And why you need both? You need both because what? Because we talking about currency. Let me show y'all something. I don't even know. Man, when I tell you, man, like when I was a kid and we be playing with the big kids, anytime the big kids want to really get to you, what they do? I'm gonna punch you in your chest. So that's what I feel like I'm getting ready to do right now. I'm gonna punch you in your chest. Because my producer wanted to know, tell people the red and the, okay, so now we on the red. I'm gonna finish the red, then I'm gonna tie this all up and show you all about currency and what a current is, right? Because we talked about that before. So in the red means what? The opposite of in the black. So what does that mean, what? Not profitable. It's not a profit. It's not a profit. I know you probably can't read my writing, but it's not profitable. What else is it? There's no cash flow.
Come on.
Right? It's just the opposite. It's no cash flow. And what else? It's a deficit. Right? And we was talking about debt. And we was talking about the picture that you want to paint for the bank. Now let's talk about this. What's another name for money? Currency, right? Where does currency come from? Electricity, the current, right? What do you need to have a current? What do you need to have a current? No. Just like what's on every battery. What you need? You need a positive and a negative. Now, I'm a scientist by trade. I'm a microbiologist. That's my first degree. Do you realize you need both of these in order for, when you get to the smallest form of matter, which is an atom, do you realize that you got to have protons and electrons? A positive and a negative charge? So guess what? In the financial world, when you go to the bank, this, listen. This, if you get this lesson, this will change your life. Do you realize just these two? You need positive and negative for currency, right? So what does the bank do? The bank is getting applications from people with both, right? Positive and negative. Positive and negative. Do they not lend to the negatives? Do they not lend to the, no. They'll lend. But guess what they're going to lend? Guess what they're going to do? Because we started off talking about what? Risk. We started off talking about risk. So guess what the bank do? The bank said, hey, you don't have no excess money. You don't have no cash flow. and you got a deficit, because see, you may not do this, but when you turn in your application to the bank, and the bank start asking you questions, how much do you make a month? How much do you make a year? Where's your tax return? Where's your last three pay stubs? Guess what they doing? This. But you ain't do this. But if you had done this, you would know this, okay? So that's why the banks are asking you those questions. So they say, well, this person don't have. So they reg. So guess what they're gonna do? I'm gonna give you the loan, but because you high risk, guess what else gonna be high? Your interest rate.
Oh, Lord. Yeah.
So we're gonna give you the loan, but we're gonna give you the loan at 10%. I'm gonna be nice to you. We're gonna give you the loan as 10%. Now here comes somebody right behind you. Listen to the Daily Bread Show. Understands return on investment. Understands income statement. Understands how to create a budget. Was at a negative 100 deficit. Cut out the cable, right? Cut the cable. Cut some other surpluses other liabilities that they had.
Do not.
Turn their deficit into a positive. Now they got positive. Now they in the black. Because they got cash flow, they have a profit, and they have a surplus. They go into the bank and apply for the exact same loan that you applied for. The bank asks them the same questions.
And get better rates.
How much do you make a year? How much do you make a month? Where's your tax returns? Where's your year-to-date statement, payroll statement, right? They ask them the same. What bills do you have? Liability, right? What bills do you have? Do you have a student loan? How much did you pay out a month? How much do you pay for this? They do the same calculation. But guess what? You've already done it because you've been listening to the show, and I done showed you how to do this. You go into the bank and apply for the exact same loan, the exact same amount of money. You in the black. And then you go to last week's presentation, which was about credit. Your credit strong, guess what? The same exact loan they give to you at this 1%. That's too much, man. I ain't gonna do that to you.
Yeah.
That's too much. Okay, here go one for you. 3%. 3%. That's real. That's real. The difference between 3% and 10% on the same money over an extended period of time, that's like night, not ain't even night and day. That's like night and night.
Joseph. Okay.
That's the game. That and this is currency. So when we playing around with these different words and we hear people speaking about these different things, we need to study. That's why I told y'all last week, we got to do what? When you learn how to do this, then you can go to the bank and do this. Before you get there, for those of y'all that missed the show last week, then you can do this. Come in like, wait a minute. Oh, there we go. All right, come out here, got a little. Right. You put your 49 on there, because that was the jersey I had on last week, right? Oh, wait a minute, what is that? Okay, we put a little eye. Got a little eyeball. We're gonna give him a little mustache. So you can see that, that's a person, right? And you put a frame on it, right? You take that to the bank. That's what they mean by when they say take it to the bank, take that to the bank. Because that's what the bank is saying, hey, are you in the black? Do you have cash flow? Do you have a deficit? You already did all of this. You've been listening to the show. You've been practicing. You've been working on this. So you take that to the bank. Take him to the bank. Take her to the bank and give it to the banker. And you already know what they're going to say. Approve, and you'll have a nice interest rate. And you're going to be able to get the deal done. But if you don't do the things that I'm showing you, when you go to the bank with this, See, this is what most people go into the bank with. They say, I want to buy a house. I want to buy a car. I want a loan. And then you go to the bank and with this. And say, hey, will you let me borrow some money? They say, well, what's that? You say, that's a picture. Like, no, it ain't. You say, yes, it is. You like a picture of who? That's my picture. That's my financial picture. And then that's when the bank said, oh, okay, I get it.
Take that with you.
Go on with that. That's what they said in their head, but if they said that we'll file a complaint, they being racist, they ain't being racist. This is a game. This is a game. Just like every other game. Like playing a card game, any other game. This is a game. Learn what ROI means. Go back and look at this video. I'm telling you, this is some business school stuff, man. This is not only business school, this is some investor types. This is what investors look at, right? This is what Nipsey was talking about. So don't just sing the song, oh yeah, nah, bro, this is what he was talking about. When you learn this game, it don't matter how little your money is. When you learn this game, and you know what they're looking for, then you create it, right? You create it. I want a man 6 feet tall, got a mustache, he got a funny little eye, he got an afro, he gonna have on a jersey with a 49 on it. Oh, that's what you want? Okay, I'm gonna create that for you. It might take me 3 years to create it, but when I come back, I'm gonna have that for you, right? And when you walk in, you're not walking in asking, right? Shoulder slumped down, hunched over. Here's my application. No, you walking in. Here you go. There you go. Call me. Let me know.
Where the check at?
Call me. Let me know. That's when you call. When you could get to the point where, listen. When you could get to the point, you call the bank. Say, hey, let's take. I was just checking on my application. How many people you know do that? Be truthful. How many people you know turn in the application anywhere, credit card, loan, and then you call the bank when the bank, you like, bank taking too long. Hey, yeah, this is John. Yeah, this is John Smith. I turned in my application a week ago. Can you tell me the status? Right? Just like that. Not no, I guess I'll wait and see what they, no news is good news. No, it ain't. No, it ain't. Learn this, man. This is for you. This is for you, your kids, and your kids' kids. I got an 8-year-old grandson. You think I ain't teaching him this already? I'm teaching him this at 8. This man, I'm gonna make sure this man buys something. It might be the raggediest house on the planet, but when he get to be a teenager, he gonna buy a house. It's gonna be a raggedy house, no doors, the windows broken out, all of that. But I'm going to take that joker to that house, take him through this process. I'm going to let him learn this process. Then we're going to go out and we'll show him how to execute it. So that way when he becomes of age, like when we started off this conversation, when he becomes 20 years old, he going to know what a picture look like. He going to know how to draw the picture. Because that's in the Bible. What does the Bible say? That's in Habakkuk. What does it say?
No.
That's in Habakkuk. What did he say? What did he say? Make it plain. Make it plain.
Write it down.
Write it down. And what's the part that people leave off? So when those that see it can run to it. That's in the Bible. Write the vision, make it plain, and the part that people leave out is this. So when they see it, right? When they see that picture, they can run to it.
All right, here go your exit music.
All right? Hold on, man. Hold on, man. Book of the week. This is an awesome one, man. This is an awesome one. And it talks about this, right? This is one of the most successful entrepreneurs in the music industry. This is Jay Prince. Houston. Rap a lot. He started from the street, built an empire. He's an icon in the game. The name of the book, The Art and Science of Respect. The Art and Science of Respect. And he's not talking about no bullying. He ain't talking about beating up people. He's talking about doing what you say and saying what you do. The Art of Respect by Jay Prince. Go pick it up. This was before, right? This was before quality control. This was before, right? Dr. Dre. This was before all of that. Jay Prince, Rap a Lot. This was before Master P. This was the guy that Master P emulated to create his empire, No Limit Records. So that's the book of the week. Jay Prince. Hope y'all learned something. Get your picture right. Get your picture right. Hey, and if you know somebody that need a mortgage, or they need to get, not just need a mortgage, if they need to get ready to get their picture right to be prepared to get a mortgage, tell them to give me a call, JL Capital, 470-322-5122. Hey! Boy! I was hungry when that. Man, y'all ain't send no pizza up here either, man. Man, y'all, hey, next week y'all send a pizza up here, man. If y'all love, if y'all love the show, send us a pizza. 4250 Stone Mountain Highway, Lilburn, Georgia. Send us a pizza, man. What you want?
Veggie with chicken.
Man, they don't have no chitlin pizza.
Veggie with chicken.
They don't have no chitlin. Hey!